Good day everyone, and welcome to the instruction movie how to program your highway bash script for your first pipeline or part of the pipeline of your single pipeline according to Majops. As you've seen on the website, you have this overview, and you really don't know what this means. This is an overview how a highway of a pipeline works. This is the highway, and the highway means from bash, so from the Linux environment in the terminal or for Ubuntu or Debian, all other scripts and programs should be called. It's not allowed to start or call a bash another script from another language, for example Python. As you can imagine, if you would call another script for Python 2, first, what always happens is that the environment changes from Python 2 to bash, and then another script, for example Java, is called. And when the JavaScript has finished its job, it goes back from Java to bash and Python 2 again. If only one or two scripts are called from Python 2, it doesn't matter. But you can imagine if you have a pipeline with, for example, 1000 scripts, your pipeline becomes very slow and it's very insufficient. So you always have to program a highway of the pipeline in bash. And from bash, you can call other scripts or other programs. My advice to you is always use another program. Don't program a script if there's a program already in the world that does the job for you. But okay, we start now to program our first pipeline by using the highway. And as you know, on the website Majops, there are so-called Majops scanner scripts, and one of those is the so-called Majops scanner script pipeline. Oh yeah, here are all the Majops scanner scripts that are now downloadable from the website, and this is the one you have to use for the highway. This is the highway bash script pipeline. I can open it in several ways. I can double click it, but when I double click it, it opens with gedit. You're allowed to program in gedit, but I prefer Genie. Genie is here. And now you will think why. Now I shall show you. When you open with gedit, you get the code of your script, or in this case the highway bash script pipeline. But when you shrink in the window, you can see the rules in these lines go to the next line. And when we shrink the window very small, you can see there's only one rule spread over 5 lines. Now that's not easy, so I don't use gedit. I closed again. That's why I use Genie, because you won't have that problem. Just take a look. I shrink the window in Genie. As you can see, nothing happens. So that's why I always use Genie. But okay, we're now in Genie, and this is the scanner script for the highway of the pipeline. It always begins with the so-called global global example variable. I should, if I will, take it away, and I now make my first pipeline. No, I call it my first pipeline. And I should think you have to give it a nice name. I have to admit I have to give it a nice name, but now I don't have a case for doing that, so I call it my first pipeline. Click on save, and now I can start building my first pipeline. But before I continue, I want to explain how this Majops scan script how this highway bash script has been built. This shows user information, and here you have to write what the Majops scanner script, what this highway bash script does. Here you have to use the pipeline, so what kind of command arguments you have to give with it, and here an example to start. I will do this later, but for this instruction movie I will show you how to program the highway to call other scripts in this overview. So here we have the highway in code. There's this part. First I can remove this code, and I can start programming my first pipeline here. Now, my first pipeline, and here I can call scripts from the highway here. What should we call first? Let's say we have 3 processes. The first one is a Python script, so I will write down Python 2. The third one is an R script. Is an R script. And the second one, that's why I do this now first. That's why I wrote down the third one, and after that the second one. The third one, say for example a bash one. So we have another process script in bash. Now, as I told you before, I don't have a scenario for a pipeline. So what first I program script in Python 2.py. This is a bash script in bash.sh, and there's an R script in r.r. So as you can see, there are 3 scripts are called: script in Python 2, script in bash, script in r. But we are not finished yet, because we have to get some command line arguments from the pipeline, and we have to give those to those scripts and to give them further to the other scripts. Now, you always have to get your command line arguments from the pipeline. And how do you do that? You write this one, for example, input 1. It could be a file or a number, etc. Let's say I have a file, so I call it input file name 1. So now what only I have to do is $1. That's the first command line argument, and the second command line argument could be another file name, input file name 2, $2. You're ready. And the third and the last one could be the output result file of this first pipeline of mine. So I call it output file $3. Now I've taken all the command line arguments for my first pipeline into normal variables. Now, let's say these 2 input file names are given to the first 2 scripts. So input file name is given to only to the first Python script, and input file name 2 is only given to the second script. As you remember, every script has something to do with something goes in and something goes out. The definition of Python was there are a chain of pipes, and each pipe has output that can be used for input for the next one. So we've got input here, so you already need output from the first script. So let's say we call it output script 1. Now, and you already have to give the name. That's what we are doing here. Output script 1. I call it output, for example, and you always have to give the name according to names that are used before. For example, I take input file name 1 as a part of output here. And it could be, for example, a text file. Okay, that's out. So now we have the first pipe. A script in Python 2 is called. The first component argument is taken with it and given to by it, and the result is output script 1. Now we go to the second script. That's a bash one. And as I told you before, the input file name 2 is given to this second bash script. But let's say we also need output from script 2, so we have to make a name for the output of script 2. Output script 2 output as $, input file name 2. It could be a text file, for example. Okay. Then I put this new output after second script, and now we have the second pipe that's called. And at the end, we would like the result of an R script. Now in that case, for example, if you want to call the third and last script in R, we have to use for example, the output data of script 1 and the output data of script 2. So we make new variables again for it. It's just nicer to change the name every time. Input script 1 of script script 3. Input 1 script 3. Input 2 script 3. And that's the same because we don't have to change the name. So here and there. The second command argument is given with the third script. And now we need the ultimate output files generator in our script. That's why we give here the output file. So my first highway pipeline is finished. My first pipeline is finished. I delete these. So this is my first pipeline I made from scratch according to the scheme. And the code you've seen here, you can forget it. It has nothing to do with the pipeline in the world. But when you build a pipeline for yourself, according to the scenario, always give every input variable a nice name, and every name for each script also a nice name, according to Majops. Okay, thank you for your attention.